Go ahead and strap on those breadline boots, boys and girls in Lazo Land, because we just been downgraded. And by downgraded, it's purely economics. The Fitch rating agency downgraded our economy from AAA to AA plus. What does that mean? Well, it's just going to cost a lot more money for us to borrow money. That's pretty much it. And it's going to affect everybody, even you blue-haired libtards out there. It's going to affect you if it isn't already affecting you. Think about right now. Gas prices are up again. They have to necessarily skyrocket, right? Right now, in my locale, it's $3.69 a gallon. It's pushing $4. It's going to get, and it's going to get higher. What I find funny is that Janet Yellen, our Secretary of the Treasury, is puzzled and feels that this rating agency is unwarranted in doing what it did. Unwarranted? How is this being unwarranted? It's quite simple. But having said that, I want to see what Kevin O'Leary has to say. Who's Kevin O'Leary? Well, he's just on that show Shark Tank. Smart economic businessman. I don't necessarily agree with 100% of what he has to say, but in this instance, he's 100% right. Kevin O'Leary sounds alarm on downgraded U.S. credit rating. No way to sugarcoat this. It's bad. Fitch downgraded the U.S. long-term rating from AAA to AA plus on Tuesday. So here's what Kevin O'Leary had to say about this downgrading. He says it's no way to sugarcoat this. It's bad, right? Well, he goes on to elucidate to all of you and myself how bad it is. And by the way, folks, it's freaking bad. He says there's no way to sugarcoat this at all. It's bad. And I tell you how measure it's bad. Basically, when you downgrade the U.S. economy, which is what this is, downgrading is, you're losing a little faith in the U.S. dollar and the U.S. Treasury bill, because the default currency of the world, defined by every commodity priced by U.S. dollars, is the good faith of the U.S. government and the whole world. Basically, it's fiat currency. What that means is that we say this dollar is worth $1 because it's $1. That's basically dumbing it down all the way down to the base components. Most sovereign funds keep the majority of their liquidity in U.S. dollars. That got hurt 24 hours ago because now you start to ask yourself, well, where is this going? A downgrade from AAA to AA doesn't go to single. Now, if you're a sovereign wealth fund, you start to put up that in your mind. At the bottom line for you and me is the cost of capital goes up. In other words, what it costs for us to borrow money to fund the government, and the deficit goes up. No sugarcoating that. Goes on to say, now, how does this actually affect the 24 months? Well, let me explain. Think about the CHIPS Act and the Inflation Reduction Act. We're printing billions of dollars. Government claims it has merit. It's important to do this, but at the same time, that's just a lot of spending, and that increased the deficit. And that's why Fitch did this. They downgraded it, and I wouldn't say it was the two bills that caused the camel's back to be broken, but it was enough for them to say, okay, I've seen enough now for me and you or anybody. The kitchen table in America, your car loan just went up from 5 to somewhere between 7 and 9%. That's not going to help. So the cost of your loan and your borrowing and your mortgage going up, period. All this reckless spending and borrowing and not actually having a budget. We haven't had a budget in what, 20 years? Because we just keep doing the CR with a continuing resolution. You just keep kicking the can down the road. Oh, there's an election coming up. We'll take care of this budgetary crisis after the election. They just keep kicking it down the road. They say, the United States always pays its debts. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. But then what? You keep borrowing money. At no point in the last 30, 40 years have we actually paid down this debt. We keep adding to it, adding more money, and trillions upon trillions upon trillions. And that's not even to mention, boys and girls in Lazo Land, the Federal Reserve's own balance sheets, because they run off like a couple different books, because they buy our own debt. They print money out of thin air and buy our own debt. How does that work? Because you still have to pay that money back because the money's out there. You push the money out. It's got to come back sometime. Folks, this is not good. I don't even think Trump was in office. It would be good. But it's worse when you got a bunch of lib-prog, blue-haired ding-dongs out there who keep wanting, rainbow colored dildos, in their continuing resolution and their earmarks and all these freaking bills that are coming out, then what? Then we're going to go to single A and then triple B. Oh, that's when the fun begins, believe it or not. The fun is already beginning right now, as Kevin O'Leary stated. All that 5% interest on your car loan that you were going to buy, oh no, now it's 9. Now it's 10. That's just how it works, folks. We're screwed. I mean, we're screwed right now because we got a freaking turnip that's occupying the White House, that's at the beach right now. As the world is on fire, we're just dumping money that doesn't necessarily exist, but on paper it does, into Ukraine, dumping billions upon billions of our tax dollars and our equipment there. To do what? To do what? And now the Fitch agency says, yeah, it don't look good. So therefore, to help our bottom line out, we're going to drop your credit rating to AA plus, because, well, we just don't think that the way things are going, we don't necessarily trust you to pay your debts off. That's what that is. And so what that does now is when we do borrow money, there's more caveats to that. Meaning, one of them is interest rates are up. So instead of, let's say, 1% borrowing $1 trillion, wherever that money's coming from, now it's 2.5% or 3% or 5%. So do the math on that. Say you're borrowing $1 trillion over 20 years at like 5%. Let's say it doesn't even compound. Do the math on that. To service that debt requires money from you and I. And guess what? I don't have the money to pay it back. Do you? I'm sure you don't. But I'm sure the Federal Reserve will just print more money to service the debt even more. Oh God, we're so screwed.